racers have in common is making sure the horsepower gets to the track, and that means good tires. Think about it. Since every racer seeks to go faster than anyone before him, race tires actually have to be engineered to stay at least one step ahead of the sport. We talked to a record-breaking racer, the driver of the Budweiser King Ford Tempo and the first man to break 260 miles per hour in a funny car, 1985 NHRA World Champion Kenny Bernstein. Well, Kenny, I can't think of a single form of motorsports where traction is as critical as it is in funny car drag racing.
Well, that's absolutely right, Steve. And you know, when we set the record at 5.56 seconds, the Goodyear tire had to be perfect for those conditions that day. And you know, Goodyear is the only company that has tires for all forms of classes in drag racing, from the professional of Top Fuel all the way down to the super bikes themselves. And also, the Goodyear people come to all the major events across the United States and lend their expertise in the tires and helping the little guys and the big guys get down the quarter mile. And if you really want to know someone that knows about tires, it's the worldwide racing director, Mr. Leo Mel.
I'm not going to miss this opportunity. Well, Leo, it's never hard to find the Goodyear garage. You just look for the busiest place in the pit area.
That's right, Steve. On any given weekend, we'll have engineers and tire fitters and service personnel at races perhaps in Europe, Formula One Grand Prix, a sports car race in Europe, a drag race, a dirt race, a quarter-mile oval someplace on Saturday night, a NASCAR Grand National race, an SCCA sports car race, an IMSA GTP race. It's a busy place.
And all the tires are as unique as the venues. Kenny Bernstein's giant drag slick, for example, that's unlike any other racing tire you build. Now, Bernstein's tire, it is actually engineered to grow at speed.
Exactly. A big drag race tire has to deal with 3,000 horsepower. It has to start in a standing position. At that time, it has 17 inches of tread width. At the end of a quarter of a mile, it's now up to 260 miles an hour. That's the record. And it's grown 8 inches, and it's only 8 inches wide.
Kind of like an automatic overdrive.
Exactly. It's sort of a built-in transmission for him.
And they also run only 4 pounds of air in those tires. That's always amazed me.
There's a secret to doing that, as there is in most tire deals. The secret is that inside the drag racing tire is an inner tire. The outer tire has only 4 pounds, but the inner tire has significantly more than that, so that it will hold the inner tire or the outer tire to the wheel.
And this is a stock car, right? So that's the same kind of construction, the NASCAR?
No, this is made for a NASCAR Grand National stock car. The record for this would be around 209 miles an hour at Talladega.
Bill Elliott?
Bill Elliott. The car would weigh 3,700 pounds. In the corners at Talladega, the car weighed 3,700 pounds to start with, but just on the right front alone, there'll be a load of over 7,000 pounds. So the tire, you see, is made very thin, very thin on the sidewalls. It has no tread pattern. It's very slick, because when it rains, you park those things.
Unlike your street car, where you need the tread to dissipate the wet. So Bill Elliott set the stock car closed course record on a Goodyear constructed like this. And we talked about Kenny Bernstein's funny car record, but that's not the only drag racing record I think you guys have.
No, Goodyear holds the record in the top 5 classes of drag racing, all over 200 miles an hour.
You know, I know that Indianapolis-style racing is a high priority with you people.
Yes, I've got an Indianapolis-type tire right here to show you the difference. You'll see, first of all, it's much wider than the stock car tire because the wheel regulation is 14 inches versus 9.5. It's very thin because heat is a major factor at Indianapolis. This particular tire holds the record at the Michigan Speedway with Bobby Rahal at over 215 miles per hour average lap speed.
You know, everywhere I look at the races, you see a Goodyear engineer. What kind of engineering does it take to build a tire like this?
Well, first of all, they work with the car design engineers. They design the cars in many respects, many times right around the tire. The regulations change regularly, and they have to include features in the tire that will make them compatible with the cars.
And compounds, an important part of that engineering.
Yes, the chemistry of racing tires has contributed a lot to the road tire in the last few years.
Leo, looking at the tread on a passenger car tire reminds me that the road racers and the Formula One folks, they throw another curve at you because they'll run in the rain.
Exactly. All the sports cars, including IMSA and SCCA, as well as Formula One, utilize rain tires for rain conditions.
This is a Formula One rain tire.
This is the same tire that holds the rain records in Detroit and Monaco right now.
You know, this tread pattern will work at 160 miles an hour. What about a passenger car tire? Couldn't you use the same pattern?
We have, exactly. The new Eagle VR Gatorback line of tires is based strictly on this tread pattern.
Well, Leo, there's a technology transfer from the race tire here to the street performance tire. But what about the average guy with his passenger car?
Well, as you know, Goodyear was the leader in the concept of an all-season tire with our Vector line of tires. We have now combined the Vector line with our high-performance tire, and we have a new high-performance all-season tire, which we call the Eagle GT Plus 4. We've improved the wet performance, we've improved the snow performance, and we haven't given anything away in the dry. So it's a significant improvement in all-season high-performance tires. It's still rated at over 130 miles an hour.
Leo, I want to thank you for all the fun tire talk today. I learned a lot.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure for me also, Steve.
And on behalf of all of those guys who've set all those records on Goodyear tires, keep the good stuff coming, huh?
Thank you.
You know, in fact, I know one racer who's always very quick to share any victory with Goodyear.
Steve, I see that you learned a lot about tires today.
Boy, did I ever.
Well, I know one thing. If it wasn't for Goodyear, I wouldn't be the 1985 world champion.
The NHRA Gator